Muchas gracias, bienvenidos. Quería comentar ahora.
Thank you very much. Welcome. I'd like to comment on the experience that we've had regarding this tool within the framework of another cooperation project, one that we have carried out, a transporter project, which is POCTEFEX. The POCTEFEX program is one which is outside the good neighboring instrument, good neighborhood instruments of the European Union. It uses funds from the Union and intends to achieve connectivity in neighboring areas with borders that separate them. POCTEFEX is the one for Spain and the southern borders of Spain. So we cannot have in this project countries or areas outside the ones that are neighboring, bordering Spain. So this means southern areas in Spain and northern areas in Morocco, obviously. Within this field of trans-border cooperation between Spain and the north of Morocco, we have carried out two different projects. These two projects are Al-Sur and IDARA. Al-Sur, or the Trans-Border Cooperation Program for the Improvement of Competition in the province of Málaga in the region of Tangiers and Tetuan, is a non-thematic but structuring project. The structuring projects are the ones which include several goals, theme goals within the European Union. We speak, for instance, about the economic development, identity of the territory, governance, helping good government, different components, environment. We have touched upon this globally through these two projects, Al-Sur and IDARA, with the funding of POCTEFEX. The first one was Al-Sur. Both projects have a part devoted to good governance, and the development of the territory. Within the good governance, we thought about what to do. There were various possibilities. We wanted to work with Morocco in combination with them. We were looking for something in common, so we had several problems, amongst other things, on how to start. So just as in any particular case, we want to start with the diagnosis. We intended to carry out a diagnosis on the situation of good governance in the territories. And then we see what good governance is, what do international bodies say regarding this, and the answer was not very encouraging, because we realized that there were thousands of indices, thousands of indicators, bodies such as International Transparency International, the ODCE, etc., the World Bank, etc. So we show different indicators with specific calculations that are very complex, and in this particular moment we had to provide our own type of diagnosis that would be valid for the territory of Morocco, but something that would also be feasible. We have municipalities in the province of Málaga that need a support, a type of support that is necessary for this first diagnosis. So this goal was to find a tool that would help us carry out diagnosis, that would be an economic tool, a feasible tool, and that any municipality in the province of Málaga or in the north of Morocco could carry out. All this was achieved without the need of external agents or stakeholders. We didn't need any auditing company or anything to locate those indicators so that we could reach the conclusion on how we can describe the actual situation in these projects. This was in the year 2009, more or less, and this has been developed further later. Why do we have two projects, Aljosur and IDARA? Aljosur was number one, and IDARA was the second one. In both, we continue with the same process, just as now we are capitalizing on this type of results that we have achieved in previous initiatives. Through these projects, we intended to create this instrument, this tool, but it had to be much simpler than it was thought by the analysis of these international indicators. And we also found an additional problem. We not only have these international indicators, we not only have to make them simple, feasible from the economic perspective, it has to be adapted to a diverse reality. The province of Málaga and the north of Morocco do have a certain diversity of population, which is quite clear. We have small rural municipalities, a coastline area with a bigger population, big nuclei, such as urban nuclei, such as Tangiers or Malaga. So we have a situation which is quite diverse, as I said, and culturally diverse, with different changes in municipalities. Some of them are big, some of them are small. So we have plenty of drawbacks when developing this tool that could be feasible to be used in this field.
So the first thing we put on the table was to find the dimensions of, look into the dimensions of good local government in order to reach conclusions, and those dimensions are that participation of democracy, and those components, those dimensions are the ones shaping up good local government. Those two components joined together allow citizens to draw all benefits from good management. And what is the main motivation for a local administration to find out which is the level of good governance? They would say, well, if I'm re-elected, maybe it's that I'm in a good situation, but that wouldn't mean that things are being done at the internal level, in technical terms. Which are the files, the claims we get, the claims we do not gain. If we process many files and we apply resolutions in time, maybe working well, but the experience tells us that those types of things are not directly related. Even the lack of expectations on the part of citizens, well, citizens sometimes do not complain because they do not expect the complaints to draw the right results. So there are many components in good governance and good governance, and a solution is given through these two. The first step was to find finding indicators, and within that indicator environment, we draw the ones which were relevant and easy to find, because there's no point to find complicated indicators or indicators needing the analysis of internal document. We wanted that analysis to be carried out both by internal and external elements, so citizens could assess the governance level of an organization without the need to be within the organization, nor without having to draw more information than the one available at websites. I'm placing here specific information, and in terms of public responsibility, public accountability, we've got the strategic the municipal financial capacity, the management capacity, human capacity, and sustainable local development. Internationally, these are the aspects making up part of that. And when we speak about organizational structure, we refer to a well-defined structure. The jobs have a specific function. There's a structure of competencies which allow to find out who exerts which ability. Municipal strategy, if that institution has the ability to generate strategic plan of knowing where they want to go to and the results that are to be obtained from there, the financial ability would refer to the way in which public funds are being managed. Human capacity would be what the institution does in order to favor officials to be, or promote officials to be dealing with the functions, the duties assigned, and also municipal measures. And for that type, for those dimensions, a series of indicators were proposed. At that manual, we created a list of indicators for each of those dimensions. And in our document, we have an average 10 indicators per each of those dimensions. And for each dimension, we draw 10 indicators. And how it is that we do that? We did that. We wanted it to be a very easy indicator, easy to obtain, so anyone could draw it. They shouldn't be numeric data, but something which would give us the right solution. And the answer should be simple. If it's either the criterion is fulfilled or not, so everyone would start item number 1 is fulfilled or not fulfilled. Item number 2 is fulfilled or not fulfilled. With regards to the organizational structure, is the mayor dedicated in full to the work of the municipality? So those are indexes we have drawn from the various international institutions dealing with many different kinds of indicators. Another index would be whether the institution is made up of at least 5 members, the fact that it's an odd number, counting on a number of people which would manage for management to bring management to be fluent. So these are types of indicators of the organizational structure, but we draw 10 out of those dimensions. Strategic capacity. For example, is there a detailed diagnosis of the reality of the municipality which has been approved by the population? We all know when actions are carried out, when we take part in a project, is because there's a plan telling us that we've got to go that way. But was there any kind of citizen participation in the making of the plan? The answer is quite clear, either yes or no. On the updating of those strategic plans, have we got the ability to take part in informational sessions in order to vote on any of those subjects? Another one, is there any strategic municipal plan? If we speak about the financial ability, here we have a series of examples. Is there a budget? But even then, we've got all these indicators, and those indicators are going to be structured around 3, and I'm going to speak about that later on. Another issue. Is there a yearly external audit of accounting? But there are other questions. Whether there's an external audit with any kind of agent, if the results of the audits are published, the audits received by the state-run control institutions or external audits. With regards to management of the services, is there a bill of rights of users regulating services providers? Is there a charter of services? That is there a list of all the activities being offered? Is interaction with citizens promoted in order to implement municipal management through the use of new technologies? So there are issues we consider to be key and which have been included in this paper. Are there specific municipal policies taking care of weaker social plans? Have we got specific plans for people born in a group of people with special needs? Are there any special projects activating local economy or within sustainable development? If there's an Agenda 21 active at the local level, and we're going to question, we're going to ask ourselves if we're doing that or not. If we think of participational democracy, the environments making that up would be representative democracy or digital democracy, the participation in the government by citizens, and social participation in general, which would be the way they would be materialized is, for example, the participation of at least 50% of the people, that is, are people interested, or have organizations promoted the interest of the participation of citizens, and do municipal groups have a space for them to receive visits or celebrate or hold meetings? With regards to participation of citizens, is the municipality got any institution for citizen participation? We know that the shaping up of associations is fundamental. Is there any contribution being made by the municipality? Can citizens see which are the organizations allowing them to participate? Is there a deadline for suggestions and claims? A week at most. That's also pointed out by some international institutions as the adequate deadline. Is there a registry of local organizations? Do the municipality allow for people to use their premises, or has any spaces available for associations to meet? Transparency is another one. In Spain, after the change in the legislation, which obliges us to fulfill a series of rules in terms of transparency, we've got the information on the municipality itself, the relationship with citizens, transparency at the economic level, the transparency in the hiring of services, transparency in terms of urban planning, and also in terms of sustainable development. What's the point of that? The setting up of indicators, out of which I've highlighted one. For example, is information published on the salaries of mayors, of council persons? This has always been controversial, and maybe Fernando or someone may confirm that is, in the end, people want to look into what the salaries of the staff, of council men and women, of the mayor, and is that information published? Is there a website showing information, relevant information for citizens? Is truly the web contributing with information which is useful for citizens beyond propaganda itself? And with regards to economic transparency, are annual accounts of the budget of the municipality being published? With regards with regards urban transparency, is there anything published? With regards to transparency in terms of sustainable development, are data on energy, water use, urban waste published in terms of, for example, the amount of square meters dedicated to green areas and gardens? Those types of variables are the ones being measured, and you may have an idea of the type of indicators we're using with very simple questions and answers. Also, just by reading the internet, and there we have the side of methodology of our tool. That is, we've gathered each of those 10 indicators. From each dimension, we've taken 10 indicators and we cluster them around 10. The first group is called the compulsory indicators, for example, the organization, the arrangement, the structure of the municipality itself. Is the legislation being abided by? But sometimes not even compulsory things are followed. So as I was saying, they are grouped, compulsory, relevant, and advisable. Why the compulsory ones have been given far more weight? Because they are the minimum condition requested by the government. Then the relevant, the group of relevant requirements are the ones recommended by international organizations, and the recommended ones are the ones which would include those municipalities or provincial governments saying, well, we're going to be the best of the best, and we will include on that. So in those listings, we can have some of the indicators and include if it's compulsory, relevant, or advisable or recommendable, and we will give a score. We'll find out the final edition, and we will compare it with the maximum results possible, with the theoretical maximum. For example, we see here a page which classifies the information. As I said, this is a tool which was thought not just for Spain but for northern Morocco. We've tried to include all the relevant aspects in the legislation which can affect these dimensions, and also with regards to the certain fields in Spain. And last we added the whole of the result obtained. We divided it among the theoretical maximum, and we would obtain a number between 0 and 1, and we understand that score would be acceptable, sufficient, not sufficient, depending on that result. So which would be the advantages of this tool? First, that it is simple, that it can be easily answered. In terms of diagnostics, it allows us to find where we are, but in 6 months you do that and maybe it's changed. We have a transparency portal which is constantly evolving, and so every time we do our diagnose, we will find maybe a different scoring because everything evolves. So it's a clear tool which can be used both for small towns and bigger towns. It can be used by associations, political parties. Anyone can do that assessment and can obtain the result, can show it publicly. So we have a great ability to deal with different things and situations without the need for a complex audit, nor very intense technical knowledge. It can be adapted to the conditions of territories, and it can be adapted depending on the legislation in the country. And how have we dealt with it? We've celebrated a series of conferences in the province of Malaga. We were getting in contact with technical staff, different associations, etc., in order to explain them how the tool works, that with a simple Excel file all that information can be controlled. You may also take into account that results can be assessed as we can draw a theoretical maximum out of the whole of it. We can draw a theoretical maximum in terms of public responsibility, not just in terms of participation in democracy. We may see the evolution of a specific aspect and also the global evolution of the municipality. So, in terms of difficulties, we are not a town council, we are provincial government, rather. We've made available this tool to all municipalities in the province. The tool has been made available for them. These conference cycles have been celebrated both here and in Tangiers. A mass distribution has been made of documents. The document is available both in French and English. So that distribution has been made both in physical terms and also showing how the tool is used, and the results are dependent on or depend on the municipality or the tools, and as it's a scalable tool and circumstances changed in Spain, and with the IDARA project, we updated it again. And there was a constitutional reform in Morocco, which included many new elements in terms of transparency and public responsibility. So this information should be updated so indicators could be as reliable as possible. So they could really give us the picture of what is happening. That's the reason why we updated the tool again, and we did seminar cycles in the province, also in the University of Malaga, so students could enjoy that knowledge. But that is on what we want to work, so other projects enjoy a certain continuity.